Hello, VIP Kid Teachers Wanted. This is Teacher Penny coming to you to teach you a little bit about trial classes. Many of you have been hired, and when you're hired, almost everybody starts off teaching trial classes. And so I wanted to give you a walkthrough of how to do trial classes in order to be successful at those and to have a know what you're doing, because they're sometimes kind of crazy. First off, if you're not a part of our Facebook group, please join us there. It is facebook.com/groups/VIP Kid Teachers Wanted. I will show you the group right here. We have a great time here. This group is specifically about recruiting teachers and helping you through the mock process and getting you started on your career with VIPKid. The very first thing you want to do is right here. See this? This is the pinned post. Okay, it is at the very top of the page whenever you go in there. If you're on your phone, you will have to, it says read the pinned post, because it doesn't show every time you go in there, but you need to read that pinned post, the entire thing. It's long, okay, because there's a lot of information. There are links to other posts. There are links to videos, and all of that is stuff that you need to know to go through the VIPKid interview process. So there's some great videos in there. So start off there by reading that pinned post, joining in the discussion so that we can help you with that one. Okay. Then once you've gone through the entire process and you've been hired, you're going to start off teaching. And some of you will be able to teach major course classes, the regular classes. Some of you will be trial only teachers, and then some of you will be able to do both. But everyone who starts ends up doing a lot of trial courses in the very beginning, because the sales team is the one that assigns who does those. The parents get to pick some, but it's usually the sales team that assigns those, and they assign a lot to the beginning teachers and the young teachers. So we want you to have success in doing these. They are a little confusing, especially with some of the new things that they're doing, so I wanted to give you an idea of that. All right, so VIPKid offers their parents 3 free classes for their student before they actually start paying money and sign up for VIPKid. They are supposed to take a computer test to place where they are, what level they're at, but sometimes they don't take that test, and sometimes they take that test like right before class. So you need to know about how to find that placement test so that you'll know what level of class to show them. So the great thing about these is if you are the last teacher to teach this child before they sign up for VIPKid, you get a $5 bonus. So go enjoy a cappuccino at Starbucks with your $5 bonus there. Well, that'll be great. All right, so I'm going to show you how to go into the classroom and what to do there. And I have a whole video on navigating the VIPKid classroom. So be sure and look that one up, because it goes through all of the details of the classroom in order to be able to follow that and know where everything is. So I'm not going to go over all of those details in this video. Go watch the Navigating the VIPKid classroom that's on YouTube already with that one. So the first thing you're going to do when you go into the classroom, and I don't have a trial class booked. I have just regular classes right now booked, but I'll show you some other things that you'll need to know for that one. All right, so this is oh, lovely, my Adobe is, yes, I want to use the Adobe. Okay, so this is my regular classroom, and just for a regular class that I have tomorrow morning with one of my cutie little kiddos. His name is Daniel, and he is absolutely adorable, and I have a great time with him. So oh, looks, and so this is Daniel's class, and I'll show you how to open this class with him. So it takes a second for the flash to load. All right, so you have to, when you get into the classroom, you're going to get this. If you do not have the latest Flash player, you need to make sure you get that. Go do a Google search for Flash player, and you'll be able to find that. Download the latest version of Adobe Flash to be able to do that. When you get in here like this little sign is going to come up, and all you have to do is tell it I see, because that's telling you that it is letting it use your camera and your microphone. So be sure and do that. If you get into class and you see these little bars over here, okay, that means that your microphone is working. Okay, so you can do that one. Then if you don't see anything there, check the mute button on your microphone. And then also you can go into settings and do some checks there. All of this is laid out in the Navigating the VIPKid Classroom video, so be sure and watch that one. Okay, so this one is for my little guy Daniel, and we just moved him from pre-VIP to level 2, and so you can see here up here on the top, he is a major course level 2, unit 1, lesson cycle 1, lesson 2. So he's just starting in level 2. The boy was telling me complete sentences and all about, look, I have a turtle, and all. He did not belong in pre-VIP, so we moved him up to lesson 2. You'll learn how to do that later, okay? But this is how you go into the classroom. Now, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to load the document, okay? So the document is here. So you click on Docs and then on Uploaded by Myself. All right, now this is for my class with my little Daniel. So it only has one option here, but I want to show you this option that what it will look like if you have the trials. Okay, so here is what it's going to look like if you have trial. I screenshot this last time I had a trial because I knew I was going to be doing this video eventually anyway. Okay, come on, picture, come on up here. So this is what it's going to look like if you have a trial class. Let me make this bigger. Okay, so this is what it will look like if you have a trial class. See, it has a whole list of all of these options. And then here at the bottom of the page, it has next. So there's actually 2 pages of PowerPoint files to look through. And if you look here, it's got this whole thing. If it starts with a T, that means it's a trial. Okay, and then look at these numbers: level 4, unit 1, level 3, unit 4, level 2, unit 7, and so on. So you have got lots of choices here to bring up. This is the first page of it. There's a second page that has the rest of them on there. They're not in order. That would make it a whole lot easier if they're in order, but they are not in order. So be sure, if you cannot find the one that you want, that you look on that, you click on the next and go to the second page. And then you would click on open, and that will open your PowerPoint file. Okay, so this is the first one. Now, the one that we use the most is level 2, unit 1. Let me pull that picture up. This is the second page of those options. Okay, so the level 2, unit 1 is on the second page, I believe. Yes, right here. Level 2, unit 1. Okay, so these are the options that you have here. This is the very lowest level, is level 2, unit 1 that we have to offer. Now, you may have a student that level 2, unit 1 is even too hard. We do not have pre-VIP available in the trial lessons at this point. That may come eventually, but we don't have it available. If that's the lowest, you just do what you can with level 2, unit 1, and go from there. So, okay, so that's how you get to the PowerPoints. Okay, you find it in here, and then you open up the PowerPoint. So you click on open, and you go, and here's your PowerPoint that will be loaded there. Now, once you get into the lesson, on the first 2 or 3 slides, they are designed to be diagnostic slides to see, what does this child know? Do they know the alphabet? Do they know any of the letters? Can they read any words? And when you see that, you're going to be able to figure out pretty quickly if this is too hard or too easy or just right. I feel like it's, Little Red Riding Hood. It's too hot, it's too cold, it's just right, it's too big, whatever. You get the point, okay? So what we're looking for is to find the one that is just a little bit challenging. We don't want it too easy or they'll get bored. We don't want it too hard or they'll get frustrated and give up. So we want it just right in there. So when you go into your classroom for that trial, the first thing you want to do is you want to look over here, and this is the Info tab. All right, so you click on Info. And this is going to bring up the information on your student. Now, this is the part that you're looking for, the computer placement test, okay? And he has, in this one, it says that his computer placement test result is level 1, unit 10. Now, in another student, it might say that their computer placement test was level 2, unit 4, or unit 10, or level 3, or level 4, or something like that. So it's going to have several different options there. This is where you start. Okay, you start with that computer placement test. Even if it says something different on the listing where on the classroom page, you start where the computer placement test says, because what happens when the sales department books the class for you, they put in a guesstimate of where the child would be based on their age, because the children all take classes, English classes in school. And so they put in a guess as to where they should be according to their age. But then when they take that placement test, that gives us a little bit better picture of where they should be. However, that's not always accurate either, because a lot of times on that computer placement test, mama is sitting right beside them telling them all the answers. So we know where mama should be, but we don't know where the child should be. And so that's why that even that computer test may not be completely accurate. So, but that's where you start. You start on the computer placement test here with whatever level it says. Now, if you're doing a pre-VIP trial, you're only going to have one option, and that's the very first lesson, the very first level 1, unit 1. Uh, that's the only thing we have in pre-VIP available. Okay, but in level 1 unit or level 2 and up, we have several options. So if you look back to the picture of the trial lessons, and where did it go? Yeah. Okay, I should have left those up. I'm sorry. If you look back to this listing here, we have lots of options for which lesson we're going to choose. So you can, we do the most of is the level 2 ones. So in level 2, on that second page, it had unit 1. Then we also have level 2 unit 4 is right here on the first page, level 2 unit 7, and on the other page is level 2 unit 10. So there's 4 different ones within level 2. Now this goes from a very beginner student that maybe knows the letters, but probably not. This would be a student that comes in and they might be able to sing the alphabet, maybe not. They might be singing nonsense words to that tune, but they probably don't know any of the letters. They can't tell you any of the sounds of the letters, and they definitely can't read. Your level 2 unit 4 student, if you get into the level 2 unit 1 uh, trial class and they can sing the ABCs, and then it tells you to circle one of the letters. So you circle R, and what is this letter, or T, or whatever. What is this letter? And if they can tell you that's a T, it says that's too easy for them. Okay, and so that's when you would say, okay, we switch. So right there in the middle of class, you say, that's great, you did awesome, and maybe you say, you get a star. You do whatever reward system you need to do, and while you're doing that, while you're talking to them, let's sing again, and we sing the ABC song. While you're doing that, you're over here pulling up the documents. You're pulling up, hang on, let me get back to it. So while you're doing your reward or whatever, you're going to go back over here to documents, and you're going to pull up the next slide set. So you move from level 2 unit 1 to level 2 unit 4. Then you would move to level 7, and sometimes you might have to change 2 or 3 times within a class. You just say, "Oh, that's great, you did awesome, let's sing," and we sing the ABC song again, while you're kind of covering what you're doing. Or you can just say, "Just a moment, that's too easy, let's get something," if they're that far, they'll be able to understand. "That's too easy, let's try this," and then you bring up another one, and you'll skip past the first couple of slides in that one, the welcome slide and all that. You'll skip past those to go to the actual teaching content. Okay. So I've gone into a class and I've moved a student from level 1 to level 4, and then, oh, that was kind of easy too. So then we go to level 7. Oh, that was too hard. So we go back to level 4, and that's okay too, to have to do that. So just know that that is part of the process, is kind of an experiment there to see what level they should be at. So don't underestimate that time that you spend on that one, because we want to make sure that they're at the correct level with this one. Now, at the end of the lesson, when in the feedback, it asks you to recommend a level. The When you recommend the level, if they have a computer placement test, then you can recommend a level. If they do not have a computer placement test, you do not recommend a level. You just leave that part blank. But in the teacher feedback, put in there, "We tried level 2 unit 1, it was too easy, and we taught level 2 unit 4." So just put in there, which level you ended up teaching, so that the next teacher can see that. That will also help the sales department to know, if this child signs up, "Oh, okay, that's what they did, so let me put them at that level." So, but if they don't have a computer test listed, then don't do that. Now, sometimes they are doing that computer test right before their class time. So right before you start teaching that class, I mean, I'm talking a minute before class starts, refresh the page one more time just to see if that computer test has been added at the last moment. Okay, so make sure that you refresh the page, and then bring up the info tab again and see, has that computer test been updated in this last minute. So you might be scrambling to get to the right slide thing, but that's okay too. You want to make sure that you've got the correct one according to the computer placement first. So bring up that tab and put that in there. Okay. All right. So now, you do not have to finish all of the slides on a trial. It may take you a little bit to go back and forth and figure out what level they should be. So you do not have to finish all of those. If you get to 25 minutes and you are you're only halfway through, it's okay. Don't panic. What you do is you go over here, see this little lovely button down here at the bottom, and you click on that one, and it brings up this little thing. Keep your cursor in the box, and you can see here that we're on page 1 of 22 pages. So you want to skip to the next to the last slide, because usually it has a blank at the end. So I'm going to go to the next to the last page and then click on go, and I can beep, look, I'm at the goodbye slide. Our time is up. You did a great job. Look, here's your reward system. Here's your 5, make sure they get 5 stars. Always, always, always 5 stars. Unless there's a huge behavior problem, they always get 5 stars. Okay, so you just skip over to the goodbye slide and you say goodbye, and you did a great job. I'll see you next time. I hope you had fun, blah, blah, blah. Okay, remember, your goal in this trial class is sales. You are here to sell VIPKid. to these parents. That means they want their student to have fun and they want them to learn. Even in the trial class, we are still teaching a lot of content in there. So make sure that they have fun and that they learn something in there. They do want to see you correcting their pronunciation. They do want to see you teaching with lots of TPR and the props, the flashcards, all that. Um, you do need just some basic uh, uh, props for trial classes, but nothing huge. Flashcards, a puppet, and a whiteboard and magnetic letters. That's enough. That's all you. That's all you need for that. If you've got some of the printouts of the characters, Mike and Meg, those are good to have too because we use those in some of them. But you don't have to go all crazy and have 4 billion different props. Just have those basics and have them ready. Okay, now I know a lot of you are like, "Oh, I want to prepare all of them before." Um, that's fine, and we do want you to be familiar with them, but but don't panic because you will have access to them. Now, if you do not have, we're going to talk about the booked info pending because that's something new. But if you do not have access to the slides there, I'm going to put a link to a Google Docs that has all of the PowerPoint files available in it. In fact, let me pull that up now. This is a Google Docs um, that has all of the PowerPoint files for all of the trials in it, and you can look through these. You can print them out, whatever you want to do. But these are all of the trial PowerPoints in this one document, and you will be able to look through them and prepare each one and be ready for any trial class that comes your way. I believe there are, I don't know, like 10 different levels available, but this Google Docs has all of them. And so you'll be able to print these out and look at them and prepare from those. Even if you can't see them in the classroom yet, you'll be able to prepare them from this one. Okay, so see here are all of the different trial classes, and that has every one of them listed here, and you can print them out, you can look through them, whatever. And so this is a great source, and I will make sure that this Google Docs link is put into the description here on YouTube for you to be able to find those. Okay, all right, now let's talk about booking. On the teacher portal, you come into your class. Oh, that's not the right one. This one is the right one. Okay, let's exit this classroom. Here's the feedback where you add feedback. Okay, so I'm going to pull that one up and let you see that. Oh, it won't let me do this because this is it's too long from now. But you pull up the feedback form and it has the notes that you send to the parents. And in that one, you start off and you gush about, welcome to VIP. It was VIPKid. It was so great to meet Daniel today. He's such a cute student and he did a great job. Today we learned about our ABCs, and we learned about and you list out a few things that they learned, and the new words such and such, and we learned the sentence blah 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 blah. Help him practice, hello, how are you? My name is Daniel, within, at home. Okay, so just give them some things that they can practice at home, and then say something about, when you sign up for VIPKid, you have the opportunity for your student to learn English and to, I don't know, make it all up. You'd make it sound great that they are going to have great experiences and be able to increase their knowledge and their reading ability and speaking ability with our English teachers. And you just sell it. Okay, we're selling VIPKid. You're also selling yourself in here. So you can say something like, I look forward to having Daniel in my classroom again. Be sure and book another class with me or something like that so that they can you want them to come back and take classes with you again. So make sure that you get that you put that in that feedback. Then in the teacher feedback section, you just put in there what level did they do, what was the child capable of, could they do nothing, did they stare at you with a blank stare the whole time, or were they fluently reading such and such. Okay, that's up to you, what you put in that teacher feedback, but it does help the next teacher to know what you did. Okay. All right. So now let's talk about bookings. I'm going to go ahead and exit this classroom and go back to the classrooms tab. Now, I wish I had one of these booked that I could show you. But here are where it says booked here. Normally when we have a class, a trial booked, over here it's going to say T something something something. Now I had some trials the other day. Let me see if I can find one of my trials that I had the other day. I don't do too many trials nowadays. Since I have mostly major course. Oh, look here. All right, so here, this is the thing that it's going to have for the trial. Okay, so this was a level 2 unit 4 trial. This was a level 2 unit 1 trial. Here's the student's name. There's it. Now sometimes when you get in here, it's going right there, it's going to say booked info pending. Okay, what this means is that the sales staff has booked you to teach a trial lesson, but they don't have a student assigned to you yet. Okay, usually these are booked more than 24 hours in advance, because if they book you within 24 hours, then they have to pay the extra $2 for the short notice booking. So what they're doing is they're playing a betting game to bet that they can get somebody to fill that trial class. They can get some student of some kind to fill that trial class, so they book plenty of teachers to have plenty of teachers available to teach during each of those time slots, hoping that they get plenty of students to fill in those slots. But until they actually assign one particular student to your class, it's going to say booked info pending. Okay, so don't panic if it doesn't have that, and it can be these two that I did said that booked info pending until about 15 minutes before class. In fact, I was teaching the class right before it when I finally got that assigned. So it was about 15 minutes before. I have seen some assigned at the very last minute, like within a minute of the class time starting, and they got that. So if you get one of those booked info pending things, here's what you need to do. You're ready because you've already looked at all of the trial lessons, so you're ready for whatever may come your way. Then when you get into that classroom, you open up your classroom, you make sure your microphone is working. Keep your microphone muted then. That's why you need to have a headset with a mute button on the mic. And keep your camera turned off. Okay. At 1 minute until time, you need to refresh the page again. Okay, to make sure, have they assigned a student into my classroom? Now, I usually have two tabs up here open at the same time. I have one that is open to the classroom, and then I have another one, or the classrooms list, and then I have my actual classroom in another tab. Okay, I have both of those open at the same time so that I can look back and forth between them. Okay, so on in the classroom, it's supposed to update when they assign a student in there. It's supposed to pop in and say, here's the name of the student, and then your PowerPoints will be available for you to load. It's supposed to, but it doesn't always do that. So that's why I say, like, 1 minute before, refresh the page. Okay, and then at 0, turn on your camera, turn on your mic, take a screenshot to prove that you were there. Okay, then flip over to this page, your classroom's list, refresh this page. So you hit your refresh mark here, refresh thing here. You're going to refresh this page and see if it has changed here. Okay, and if it has changed here and said, and changed over to a name and an assignment, then okay, yes, they did put someone in my classroom. And if they did put someone in the classroom, go back to your classroom, and if your student is not there, refresh that page again so that you can get that student in your classroom. If you don't refresh the page and it doesn't pop up, and you don't see that a student is there, then it will be counted as a teacher no-show. Okay, if you don't show up for that one. So just refresh that page, then refresh it again at about, if you still don't have a student in there, and your classrooms list still lists it as booked info pending, keep refreshing them about once a minute or so, until either a student shows up, um, or it marks it as a student no-show. Now, I'm going to go back into the classroom because I want to show you one other thing. Okay. In the classroom, you have this button, the contact fireman button. Okay, now it's not active now because it's too early. This is not a class that I have until tomorrow morning. Okay, but if you're about a minute into the class, you still don't have anyone that has shown up, I usually wait a minute, maybe on a trial I would do 1 minute. On a major course, I'll usually wait another minute or two, a minute or two. But then I will click on the contact fireman button, and it'll have a drop down menu with several different options on it, and you want to choose the can't see student. Okay, so choose can't see student, and then I think at the bottom of it says submit or something like that. Um, Submit or contact, or I don't remember what that word is now. It's been too long. Anyway, but you want to click that one and say submit. Can't see student. What that does is just notifies the fireman, hey, there's nobody in my class. Is somebody supposed to be in my class? They may not respond immediately because they're dealing with everybody else that is saying, hey, there's nobody in my class, or they're dealing with someone who's having a tech issue or something like that. So, but just go ahead and do the contact fireman about 1 minute in. Keep refreshing. Usually within a trial that ends up being a no-show, where the student does not show up for it, it will usually change over about 5 minutes into the class time. And you would go look back onto your classroom's listing. I'm going to go ahead and do this. You can look back on your classroom's listing, and it will list it. I will show you. Like this one has student IT problem, um, or it will say list it as student no show. I had one the other day. I wanted to show you what that looks like. I know I've had a student no show recently. La di da di da. Whole bunch of as scheduled, right? Student, well, whatever. It's going to say here, it'll say finished, and it'll say student no-show on it. I know I've had it. See, right there. There it is. Okay, finished student no-show on it. If it switches to this in the classroom, then you're free to go. Okay, you can leave the classroom. Screenshot. Okay, do a screenshot to make sure that you can prove, yes, I was in that classroom. To do a screenshot on Windows, you hold down the Windows key on the lower left corner between the Control and the Alt on your keyboard, and then you push the print screen button. It's usually up above the home button and all that on the top right of the letter keyboard area, not over by the numbers. So you want to Windows key and print screen. On Apple, I don't know what it is because I've never messed with an Apple computer before. But you do want a screenshot to prove that you were there. This same type of thing happens with if you have a trial that it did have a name assigned to it, but the student doesn't show up. You still want to keep refreshing to make sure that they didn't come in late and you've missed it somehow. Screenshot everything. Usually, I did say to go ahead and turn your camera and your microphone on at the 0 mark. After about a minute, I will cover my camera with a Post-it note, and I'll mute my microphone so that it's not picking me up there, and it doesn't pick up all my silly faces that I make while I'm getting ready for this. Okay, but just cover your camera with a Post-it note, mute the microphone again, and then wait for it. But as soon as it changes to finished student no-show, you are free to leave the class. Okay. If it does not convert over, if it does not switch to student no-show on a trial, you have to stay for 15 minutes. Okay. If you don't stay for 15 minutes and the student comes in at minute 12, then you will be marked as a teacher no-show, and that's not a good thing. So make sure that you stay in there for 15 minutes. Okay. And then screenshot and leave and enjoy your 15 minutes. You will receive half of your base pay for a student no-show, but you still get the bonuses. The participation bonus and the finished class bonus, and if it's a short notice, you get the short notice bonus. Okay, so the only thing that's half price is the base pay on that one. Okay, all right. I hope that is clear, that you can understand how to do that one. The booked info pending is it's kind of tough because it makes it hard for you to prepare, especially when these are some of your very first classes. But I can understand it from a sales point of how they're trying to be effective in how they are doing those sales. So they want to make sure that they have teachers available to teach any kind of trial classes that come up. And so that's why they end up doing those booked info pending ones with that. So hopefully you will get those in there. But don't be disappointed if you end up with no show, no show, no show, no show. Oh, yay, I finally got to teach a class. That's kind of normal for a beginning teacher. You'll get to do some, but in the meantime, enjoy getting paid for doing nothing. Okay. All right. I hope this answered some of your questions in there, and I hope that you can that it's going to help you out in teaching your classes. I think that's everything I wanted to go over with this one. But be sure and watch it. Oh, since these are new classes, I want you to understand something also. When you get through doing your class, you submit the feedback. Now, if you have back-to-back back-to-back classes, you may not have time to do feedback in between. You may have to wait until you finish teaching all of your classes, then go back and submit your feedback. We have 12 hours to do that before they start. If you don't do it within 12 hours, they will take half of your pay from you. So you've got plenty of time to do it, but you can go back in and do feedback a little bit later in that one. So then, so you've gone into class, you've taught your class. If it's a student no-show, you do not have to leave any kind of feedback. Okay, no feedback required at all. But if you do teach the class, then when you're giving your feedback, if they've got a computer placement test, then you can recommend a level for them. If they do not have a computer placement test, then you put the level that you did in the teacher feedback. If you pull up that info tab and it looks like they've already taken a class with someone else, and that teacher has recommended a level, then use that level that the teacher recommends. That means they've already taken a class. That teacher has already recommended that they start at this level, and so you can use that level. That's the only time that you don't use what the computer placement says. So the computer placement said to use level 2 unit 4, but the teacher got in there and figured out, nope, this kid mama gave him all the answers, so that teacher moved him down to level 2 unit 1. You go back and you do level 2 unit 1. Yes, the child may take the same class 3 times in a row, but if they want a different class, then they need to sign up and pay the money. And that's okay. So maybe by that time they'll go, okay, I guess I'll pay for some classes and get some real classes then. Okay, so once you teach your class, you put the feedback in, and then you come back out here to your classroom list, and it still says booked. Okay, nothing has changed here. Several people have panicked of, what have I not done? I left out feedback and everything. How come it doesn't say finished? None of the classes convert over to finished until Beijing time, about midnight. So about midnight Beijing time, they start converting everything, and it usually takes about an hour for everything to get converted. So don't panic unless it is later in the day and it still has not converted over. That's usually by my time. I'm in the Eastern time zone, so midnight is 11 a.m. Here, and so if it's usually by noon, everything has converted over. So go back and look about that time, and you should see it says finished as scheduled, and that's what you want. Or it might say that student no show, either one in there. The student no show will show immediately. The finished as scheduled will not show up until the midnight time. Okay.
Hi, VIP Kid Teachers Wanted. I forgot something in here, so I wanted to put this into our video. If you get a booking for a trial class, and then for some reason they cancel it, it will show up on your schedule as finished. So it'll be on the bookings page. It'll show that it'll be in gray and it'll say finished. Keep an eye on that, okay? Because if it's a trial class, they are very good at rebooking another trial class into that slot. Even though it has already been marked finished, don't trust it, okay? So don't, if you've got one scheduled for 6 a.m. and the night before it's marked as finished, you better wake up and check it the next morning, because they have been known to cancel whichever one they put in there and then put a new one in. And if you look at that and go, okay, it's finished, I don't have to show up for class, then you don't show up, and then you end up with a teacher no-show. So please keep an eye on those. They're not supposed to reschedule them if it's a major course, but I have seen here lately where they have done that to a couple of people, where they have rescheduled a major course class and put a trial in. So a major course that canceled, and then they put a trial in there at the last minute, and the teacher didn't see that it had been rebooked with that, and so they ended up with a no-show because they didn't see, it wasn't supposed to reschedule. So just keep an eye on, if you ever have anything that's canceled like that already shows finished on your thing, keep an eye on it, because they may put something in there. And even last minute, they may switch out a trial last minute. So I just want to warn you to keep an eye on that. The best option on when you're booking things is to open up your schedule for whatever you want to teach. Have the 24-hour box checked. But then if you don't have anything scheduled the next morning, then just turn them off the night before, so that that you know for sure that you won't be checked. Otherwise, you might get booked in the middle of the night, unless you're going to wake up. If you've got the 6 o'clock time open, if you're going to wake up at 5:30 and check and make sure if you're booked or not, which is what I did when I first started. I would wake up at 5:30, and then if nothing was booked, I would just uncheck everything and go back to sleep. Now sleep, what's that? I don't know what sleep is. I haven't slept past 5:30 in a very long time. I'm not a morning person, y'all. This is hard. Not a morning person. I'll stay up all night. I'm not a morning person. The sacrifices we make for our darling little kids. Anyway, so I hope that clears up some stuff for you on the trial classes. Bye.
I hope that clears up everything for you. Again, if you have not joined our Facebook group, please be sure and do so. That's facebook.com/groups/VIPKid Teachers Wanted. If you have not applied for VIPKid yet, I'm not sure why you're watching this video, but anyway, if you've not applied for VIPKid yet, make sure you use my referral link that you see down below, or if you're still in the interview process and wanted to know about trial classes, and you did not use a referral code when you registered, you can add my referral code, and it tells you about the email that you need to send in to do that. That'll be in the comments or the description here on YouTube. Please give me a like and leave a comment if this helped you out to get ready for your classes. So leave that for me here on YouTube. I appreciate it very much, and I will see you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.